Hey, thanks a million for dropping by. Your support means the world, truly. If my spooky tales send shivers down your spine, do me a solid, yeah? Smash that like button and subscribe. It keeps me and our creepy, shadowy friends here in business. Today's tale, well, it hits close to home. A dark figure, a desperate run, and a mystery from beyond the veil that clung to my family when we were already on our knees. Stick around and let me pull you into a story where death wasn't the only visitor that cold, sorrow-filled night. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Sarah, eyes veiled by a delicate film of tears, stood beside her ailing father, her whispers a fragile attempt to stitch together the unraveling threads of hope and despair. "Please, Dad, just hold on a bit longer." His response, barely perceptible, was a blend of agony and an indescribable terror, glimpsed in the shadowy recesses of his dimming eyes. Without warning, a shadow slinked into her periphery, a chilling silhouette peeking through the doorway, its amorphous eyes a void of unknown intentions. Her heart thundered, an electric jolt of fear compelling her towards the entity, which, as if made of dark smoke, dissipated into the hallway's oppressive darkness. Sarah, heart pulsing wildly, returned to her father's side, words tumbling in a torrent. "Dad, there was something in the shifting perspectives." Anne, Sarah's mother, stood shrouded in stoic resolve amidst the haunting familiarity of the encroaching shadow, an entity that had woven itself into the tapestry of their family, whispering dark tales through the generations. Anne's voice, feather light and weary, barely broke through the silence. "He's always watched, always waited." The story twists, unearthing an old, dust-laden journal, its pages whispering of tormented souls, dark rituals, and a shadow forever tethered to their lineage. As the shadow thickened, pulsating with a sinister energy that bathed them in an almost tangible dread, Sarah, with fingers trembling over the ancient ink, resolved to navigate this spectral labyrinth, to sever the dark threads that bound them to this perpetual, haunting darkness. In the midst of emotional turmoil and surrounded by echoes of the dead, Sarah's path unfolded, an uncertain journey through the realms of the living and the haunted, her spirit a beacon oscillating between the crushing weight of tangible loss and the unsettling caress of the unknown. With fingers grazed lightly over the worn pages of the journal, Sarah's eyes absorbed tales of the macabre, ancestral narratives steeped in dark rituals and cursed liaisons. The words, penned with a desperation that seemed to seep through the centuries, spoke of a shadow birthed from anguish and sealed with spectral chains to their lineage. Her mind swirled with the ancestors' haunting confessions, while her eyes flitted to her father, his life force flickering dimly in the encroaching darkness. Could the sorrow that enveloped their family, that seemed to drape over them like a shroud, be intrinsically tied to this ancient, wretched specter? Meanwhile, Anne, tracing the cold window with a vacant gaze, silently reckoned with the unwelcome familiarity of the dark entity. It had lingered always, a silent observer throughout her marriage, child-rearing, and now, it seemed, in the agonizing vigil of her husband's departure. Anne whispered, a mere rustle in the stagnant air, "I've seen you before, haven't I?" No words returned from the dark, but the room constricted, an unseen pressure that weighed heavily on her chest, a silent affirmation of her fear-laden query. The presence seemed to curl around them, its essence inseparable from their every breath, every tear shed in quiet, personal torment. And so, beneath the melancholic glow of a waning moon, Sarah, laden with the weight of generations of spectral sorrow, tread softly into the abyss of the unknown. Her resolve, fortified by love and an unwavering determination to sever the dark ties that bound them, ignited a slender flame amidst the pervasive darkness. In the ancient, echo-laden whispers of the house, amidst mournful walls that had silently observed epochs of sorrow, Sarah's voice trembled yet pierced the silence, addressing the shadow that had lurked, insidious and unwavering, through the sands of their temporal existence. "I will unbind you," she pledged, her words an amalgam of fear, resolution, and desperate hope, "and release us from this undying spectral torment." The shadow, formless yet pulsating with a dark, inscrutable malevolence, seemed to recoil, and for a moment, the oppressive gloom lifted ever so slightly, a hesitant pause in the relentless march of despair. In the cavernous gloom of the ancestral home, Sarah, enveloped in an atmosphere thick with dread and memories, began to chant. Words, ancient and quivering with spectral energy, lifted from the journal and permeated the oppressive air, an invocation saturated with a desperate plea for release. The shadow stirred, its form oscillating between wrath and an almost perceptible essence of anguish. It wove through the spaces of the house, a dark wave enveloping memories, secrets, and the persistent ache of generations-long sorrow. Anne, distant yet unyieldingly connected, perceived a shiver in the realms beyond, her spirit intertwining with the despair and silent screams of epochs past. Within her, the silent recognition of her own participation in this timeless tragedy ignited a flame of both guilt and defiant resolve. Her voice, a beacon amidst the spectral chaos, intertwined with Sarah's, weaving a tapestry of matrilineal strength, sorrow, and determination across the abyss that separated life and the haunting specter of the beyond. The shadow, now writhing, unleashed a silent, metaphysical scream, a vortex of dark energy that sought to extinguish their flickering flame of rebellious hope. Walls trembled, the air thickened, and yet, the words, those ancient syllables of release, continued to flow, a river of light within the encompassing darkness. In this spectral maelstrom, memories, regrets, and lost souls entwined, spiraling through moments of love, loss, and unspoken understanding. A collective anguish, a shared history of intimate moments saturated with both warmth and despair, surged forth, weaving through the very fabric of the entwined realms. Then, as if the universe itself exhaled a breath held through centuries, a release permeated through the dark. The shadow, now a mere whisper of its former malevolence, quivered, its form dissipating into a gentle cascade of ethereal particles, illuminating the darkness with a soft, mournful glow. In this fragile luminescence, faces of the past flickered briefly, ancestors bound in spectral sorrow, eyes gleaming with gratitude, love, and a sorrowful acknowledgement of the shared, timeless agony. In the aftermath, the room, bathed in a fragile, ethereal glow, seemed to exhale, releasing centuries of entwined sorrow and spectral despair into the ether. Sarah, her eyes reflecting the soft luminescence, beheld her mother. Their gazes locked, a silent communion of shared experiences, fears, and unspoken love danced between them. Anne's eyes, once a reservoir of untold stories and private heartaches, now shimmered with a blend of relief and the immutable mark of enduring loss. She stepped forward, her form casting a gentle shadow upon the faded tapestry beneath. Her voice, fragile yet laden with a timeless strength, whispered, "It's over, isn't it?" Sarah nodded, her own voice a mere rustle amidst the serene stillness that enveloped them. "Yes, but their stories, our story, will linger, eternally entwined with this place." And linger they did. The home, once a vessel for spectral sorrow and unseen chains, now stood as a silent guardian to a myriad of tales, of love, loss, and the indomitable strength that echoes through the generations. In the realm beyond the tangible, the ancestors, faces illuminated with a soft, spectral light, observed the living. Eyes, once marred by the tormented shadows of the past, now gleamed with a quiet peace, even as the trace of eternal sorrows lingered in their depths. As days ebbed into nights, the story of the living and the dead wove through the corridors, whispering tales of bygone eras and the delicate imprint of memories imbibed into the very walls. In the quiet moments, where the veil between worlds thinned, one could almost hear the faint, melancholic whispers of the ancestors, their voices intermingling with the soft, persistent echo of eternal love and haunting heartache. And in this place, where realms entwined, the living breathed amidst the silent company of the spectral, each existing within the fragile embrace of stories left untold, and words eternally imprinted within the tapestry of time and the ether beyond. Days morphed into years, yet the ancestral home, now a sanctuary of spectral serenity and lingering tales, stood timeless amidst the undulating meadows. Sarah, her hair now kissed by strands of silver, wandered through the corridors, her fingers gently caressing the walls, feeling the ancient whispers of bygone eras. The home, once a vessel of sorrow and spectral haunting, had become a haven where the living and the dead coexisted, each respecting the gentle boundary that separated their realms. Anne's spirit, free from the chains of spectral anguish, lingered lovingly within these walls, a gentle presence forever entwined with the threads of her descendants. Her soft, whispering voice often danced through the corridors, a comforting echo in the twilight hours. Sarah's grandchildren, wide-eyed and cherubic, would often giggle, pointing towards a gentle light flickering in the dimming twilight, whispering secrets to the unseen. And thus, the house lived on, not as a haunting ground of unresolved sorrows, but as a nexus where the worlds entwine, sharing stories and silent understandings across the delicate veil of existence. Families gathered, stories were shared, and the spectral inhabitants were revered, not feared. The ancient walls absorbed the new tales, the laughter, the shared glances, and the silent tears, becoming a richer tapestry of intertwined epics and eternal bonds. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue across the meadows, a soft whisper, a gentle, loving echo, murmured through the breeze, "We are always here, forever part of the tapestry that binds us all." The spectral and the living, forever entwined in an eternal dance of shared stories and unbroken bonds, lingered in a peaceful coexistence, where time, love, and loss melted into a single, endless moment. And so, the home stood, a sentinel across the ages, harboring the echoes of the living and the dead, a testament to the unbreakable chains that bind us through time, love, and shared stories, evermore.
Survive the tale and crave more. Your bravery deserves applause. Dare to dive deeper. Haunt that like, share, and subscribe. Whispers in the dark or screams aloud. Share your thoughts. Your voice guides our next ghostly tale.